Hello, War of the Visions fans. I'm Jackie Fox. Today we're going to be talking about Astrolancer RAMADA, the new design and UR version of a favorite MR character who was really strong back in the day and could do some pretty vicious damage. And this is definitely going to be true of the new version as well. Don't let her cute appearance fool you. She will destroy you in ways that were previously unknown to the wotv world. Mostly. So just covering the bases for RAMADA here, she's going to have base magical damage resistance, which is going to cover all types of magical damage, anything based in the magic stat, 10%. So add to that, she also has 20% magic attack resistance, which is most magic attacks. That's two layers that would both apply to Shurika, because even though she's not like an elemental counter to Shurika, she can deal with a lot of things that Shurika does. Another example of this is base 15 single target resistance. Looking at her stats overall, she resists Berserk and Frostbite. That's not necessarily for Shurika, but it will help against a lot of Shurika's teammates, as both One Wing Sephiroth and Dario the Crystalborn can inflict Berserk. Frostbite is going to be a lot more helpful against Gilgamesh, and again with that single target resistance, she might have some ability to resist Seeking Plume specifically, and a little bit more resistance through some of the other means to some of his other attacks. She does have good slash resistance as well, I believe, so that's going to be helpful for her. She has a pretty good crit chance based on her stats, and her stats really show a picture of pretty high HP, strong attack, kind of top tier attack here, and very much top tier agility, at least in terms of raw stats. When we go into her supports, unlike a lot of characters, she's not going to have an agility boosting supportive skill, so she's going to lose out just a little bit on the top tier of agility in the game, but only by a little bit. Looking at her best supportive combination, you're going to be getting wider area resistance, 15%, 20 AoE resistance penetration base, which is very cool, and 40 defense penetration from her kind of must-have passive. Now from there, I would offer to go into Natural Instincts from Strider for 40 more defense penetration and 25 accuracy. We're now at 80% defense penetration, and you can make that 100% with, I think there's maybe one or two different pieces of gear that you could just equip to her, either as armor or accessory, I think that being the Black Garb and the Thornlet, which could give her the required 20 defense penetration to fill this out. So no buffs are required or anything, because she's not going to have a way to buff that. And you're not going to have to bring one for her, as long as you do that. Looking into her buffs, she has a very strong self buff and a very strong ally buff, and they work together. So the self buff is going to give her magical damage down 25% for 4 turns, is going to stack with her basic to give her 35%. About a third of all magical damage will be reduced by this. Protect, which itself is a 25% physical damage down. So this is also for 4 turns, and together, this is basically the equivalent of Protect and Shell. I'm not sure why it isn't Protect and Shell specifically, but it is what it is. And then she's going to get Curse Chance up and AoE resistance penetration of another 20 whenever she has Protect or Courage. So she's going to have Protect from this. And put a pin in that Curse Chance up, we'll talk about it later. Her buddy buff is going to do the following things for herself and allies. Single target resistance of 25, so on top of her base, that's 40. Crit rate of 25, that's going to be important for making a lot of her stuff more consistent. Like the ability to restore 10 AP on a critical hit for 4 turns. Allies get all of this, so she's enabling their ability to get this AP back by boosting their crit rate as well. But for herself, she's also going to get a couple of other things from this that are pretty impactful. Courage, 50% HP absorb, and 20 AP. So she's got the stop loss, the way to heal back, and enough AP that she's going to be hitting with impactful moves for most of those turns, even without other outside help. Did I mention that this girl has a really cool TMR that provides 5 panels of, I think it's like a medium AP restore? It's not bad at all, and it is a good way to throw it around your team if you're not going into a blade stream scenario. Pretty powerful, but she doesn't necessarily need it because of this and some other things. Looking at her attacks, I'm just going to talk about some of the things that her attacks can do instead of looking at her attacks specifically. She can, with one break a barrier, she can apply physical damage down to them and curse / critical resistance down, which is interesting. This is going to be a 9-panel skill, very broad range, and she can use this multiple times, unlike Sephiroth. And with her previous buff enabled to increase her crit chance, or increase her curse chance, she's going to be cursing a lot of people with this. And if she doesn't catch them the first time, she'll come back around to it and curse them again. I've seen her curse some characters multiple times in the course of a match. Her other skill can dispel, protect, and reduce wider attack resistance. So this is the other form of AoE resistance. If her 40 AoE resistance penetration wasn't enough after buffs, she can also get rid of this alternate form of resistance as well. So really powerful and really into breaking down people's AoE so that she can come in and AoE curse people. It's very cool. In a way, it's kind of like Sephiroth, but more technical and definitely a lot more opportunities to curse people, especially in like a guild battle scenario. She'd be cursing people in round 2, which Sephiroth often can't. Looking at her sub-jobs, good. She's got both of the Strider buffs, so that's going to be / penetration and accuracy. If you need / penetration, this is where you would get it. But she's not really a slashing character, she's a pierce character, which means she doesn't really need pierce penetration. So if you're following this guide so far, we have 100% defense penetration, the highest AoE resistance penetration in the game right now at 40, and maybe through even an awkward choice for an Esper, you could apply even more. You could get that up to 60 if you really felt like it. But wait, there's more. Before we talk more, I want to talk about the Dragon's Whisker +1. This is going to give her another basically 15% AoE resistance penetration, in that it's going to debuff people's AoE resistance 15 before dealing damage. So kind of an additional layer of AoE resistance penetration. If you're keeping up and you're applying the Esper as well, this is going to be basically 75% AoE penetration. That's really, really ridiculous. But wait, there's more. If you get the +1 all the way maxed out, then on critical hits, her attacks are going to apply all elemental resistance down as well. And she's quite good at critting, so this is just another way of breaking forms of defense. She's going to be an incredibly penetrative character, and in a way that is going to maximize her damage. Really, I saw a content creator, KT7up, already saying that one of the biggest problems for her realistically is that the damage cap is just slowing her down too much. She could be wiping people and applying her damage more effectively, but she just can't break through the damage cap is the thing. Like, she'll get there, and she could go well beyond it. Also an attack and spirit ally buff from Strider. So / penetration, accuracy, attack and spirit if you need it. If you want more targeted magical resistance, if you want to go even further into the anti-shuriken, anti-magic realm, Spellblade really provides a lot of magic resistance and layers, multiple layers of magic resistance, and the potential for her to have a hate generation if that's what you're into, but I don't necessarily see that being helpful or powerful. For her Limit Burst, she's going to give herself plus 20% physical damage before dealing damage. It's also going to break their CT and an AoE and give her CT up. So this is very wombo combo-y. This has a lot of the same vibes as Sweetheart Ildira's LB. Very cool in that respect, but just doing more damage. So in total here, she's pretty fast, without even requiring any additional support from her support skills to get that speed up. She is about as fast as you can get without support agility. She can be built for 100% AoE, 100% defense penetration. She can also essentially be built for 75% AoE penetration and the ability to, I think in this build, on critical hit for herself, she would be inflicting agility down, all elemental resistance down, curse potentially, in all of, in her big AoE skill. So she would be doing a lot. In addition to getting 10 AP back for landing that critical hit. She would really, and HP absorb. So she's really going to be able to do a lot. And because that damage is high and she is an HP absorb character, she's going to be a lot like June the Spring Celestial in that it's going to be impossible to really count her out of a fight as long as she has that HP absorb up, because even at 1 HP, even getting that courage procced on her, which does remove some of these things, she's still going to be able to do enough damage that she might be able to full heal herself like every turn that you just can't take her out. So that could be incredibly powerful. And I've been showing you my Lightning team on the screen. This team has not done so well in the testing, at least from what people have been doing in Guild Battle on JP. This team actually came in 9th place overall, posting pretty mediocre numbers, if not just openly bad. So let's talk about some of the other teams. Unfortunately, I didn't take the team that I'm actually using in the other parts of this video and test it, although it's a little bit wonky. It has a lot of curse and a lot of AoE resistance mitigation, because RAMADA is what she is. She's an Astrolancer. She's not going to care about your AoE resistance that much. And the amount that she would care about it can be wiped away by either Veritas of the Winds or One Wing Sephiroth. So she can basically get people down to no AoE resistance through this team, even when they start with quite a lot of it. But the best team that I saw here, also the 8th most used, so this was the diamond in the rough, was Volke and One Wing Sephiroth. This doesn't really have the right setup to be a bait team exactly, but I think it is interesting. Maybe she's serving as a defense against water teams, just overwhelming this team entirely, and also kind of combining with Volke for a strong Lance synergy. There is a very strong card that I'm using on the other team here that combines synergies. It's Glimmer of Insight or something. But it provides maximum agility for both lances and katana. That's a very, very strong card. That one vision card alone helped this whole team come together, and I'm sure it's very important for this one as well. This team did really well on offense, 4.87 stars on average, and it also did really well on defense, averaging 2 defends per fight. So this was number 1 for offense and defense. Rarely happens. Best in show, very best of the boys, these 3 boys. Well, 2 boys and a girl. Don't think about that too much. Veritas of the Heavens and Luciel came in 2nd overall. This was the 6th most used team. Came in 4th on offense, so really dropped off on offense. Had a couple of really bad days, but also had a really good day where it averaged 5.7 stars. But it really shone on defense, where it came in 2nd place with 1.93 defense, which actually ties it up for the next team. This is the most used team. Did not rank on offense, interestingly enough, but was 2nd place on defense. So very good team on defense. This is One Wing Sephiroth, Luciel, and RAMADA. Moving into our 4th place, we have Luciel and Shurika. This was 2nd on offense, 4th on defense, with a 4.2 stars on offense and 1.77 on defense. So back of the pack for defense, still quite good. And 420, hey, look at that. Coming in 5th place, 2nd most used team, Luciel and Alaya the Alabaster. And this is going to be 3rd place on offense. It did pretty well on offense. And it honestly does alright on defense too. This was a fairly respectable showing. But I think that this team really fell off in terms of usage on defense. Well, no. This wasn't the team. The team I'm showing you in the video is the one that fell off in usage on defense. Really bad. This one was pretty well used across offense and defense. But it really just does not do nearly as well on defense as it could, because it is a purely lightning elemental team, and just, you know, Ashenmont himself can probably deal with most of that. In fact, there's a fight where he kind of does that for a water team when I was going up against him with a level 102 Ramada. Coming in 6th place, 9th most used team, Elda, King of the Lions, and Veritas of the Heavens with Ramada. This came in 3rd on defense. Very good team. Very broad. Even if you know all the members of this team, it's hard to really pick a good element to attack it from, or a good strategy to attack it with. So it's pretty solid. It just underperformed on offense, especially at 2-star day, really tanked its data. But even at its best, it was only averaging 3.6. It did consistently get 1.9 defends no matter what day it was, so incredibly consistent defense team. In 6th, we have Luciel and Astrius the Erudite Bolt. This team is quite similar in its performance to the version with Alaya the Alabaster. They're very, very, very similar in how things go down. Astrius is better at dealing with courage, whereas Alaya is better at dealing with re-raise, but otherwise these are very similar teams. In fact, they both came 3rd place on offense. The problem for this team that drops it a few ranks lower is that it just wasn't as good on defense. All things are completely even between these two teams on offense from testing, but this team just underperforms on defense. So in general, go with Alaya the Alabaster over Astrius the Erudite Bolt. However, I think there's a lot of other more diverse ways of going than an all lightning team, and that's where these characters shine. So, not my favorites. In fact, they won't be on my key partners, but they are good, especially in combination with Luciel, who can really hold a lot of things together for this character in general. Definitely her keyest of key partners. In 8th place, we have One Wing Sephiroth and Summer Resnick. This is also not enough lightning units for a bait team, but we're seeing these kind of like combo elements work well, especially around fire. We're seeing fire work really well with wind right now, so fire also can work pretty well with lightning too. Except this team did really poorly on offense and only okay on defense. A lot of people are using it. It was the 4th most used team, but it does kind of underperform. Then in 9th place, we have Astrius the Erudite Bolt and Alaya the Alabaster, or as I have her down on the sheet, Alaya the Erudite Bolt. This team kind of underperformed in general, but it underperformed a bit more on defense. It really had the curse of the mono elemental defense team. And then in 10th place, a team that I thought would be interesting, but did really bad on both. It was solidly, I think, 10th place, on offense and defense, and 10th place overall. This is One Wing Sephiroth, Cypher, and Ramada. The 2 sources of curse in the game, and one of the game's best healing power down characters. And maybe it's just putting all of your eggs in one basket. I thought that synergy would be cool. Absolute healing denial, but maybe it's just too much. It doesn't do other things well, and because it just, like, for most teams, if you're doing bad on offense, maybe you're doing better than other teams like you on defense. And if you're doing bad on defense, maybe you just do better on offense when you can choose your opponent. This team did good against nothing in testing from what it looked like, because it almost never consistently made it past its first fight. And you know, from the data, it looks like it often didn't finish that first fight either. So just in theory, really, really cool, powerful, synergistic team, but I don't know, maybe there's just not a purpose for this level of healing hatred, which is surprising because I thought there would be, but it could also be just too much curse on one team, and that's maybe easier to counter now, but we'll see. I don't think it's super counterable, and it wasn't in the testing that I've done, but we'll see. Key partners for RAMADA are going to be Luciel. One Wing Sephiroth also does really well here. Veritas of the Heavens. Both of these characters have a interesting elemental relationship to lightning, so they could each work in various ways on bait teams. Even though that's not necessarily how I see them used, but you know, just keep in mind that wind and fire have interesting synergies with lightning, and also combo vision cards too. Then we have Veritas of the Heavens and Volke. The Pierce synergy here is really strong, and with Veritas of the Heavens, it's one of the times that I'm just really glad he's using his Sky Ripper, because it also has AoE resistance down, or AoE resistance penetration. And, you know, in other cases, I would really want him to be holding the Dragon's Whisker, which does a lot of the same things. But when RAMADA and him are on the same team, and she's using the Dragon's Whisker, he's using the Sky Ripper, it's just so much AoE resistance penetration. And, you know, maybe that's getting to the same point that Curse and Healing Power Down was with that other team that I was talking about, to where it's just too much of a good thing and not enough of everything else. Maybe that's kind of what this team is showing us, but also it's pretty cool. You got to admit, pretty cool for a level like 102 unit on my team trying to get through Arena. But all that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you like this format, like, tell me what you think of this video, because I definitely did it a bit differently. And I hope you enjoy all the footage. I'll be showing you the stats for the second team here in the outro. But, you know, remember, the free-to-play option for YouTube is to like and subscribe. Also, ring that bell, because I'm a foul-mouthed fox, and YouTube likes to suppress my videos. So don't let them do it. Ring the bell. Also, you know, you'll see more of this kind of stuff if you leave a comment. That'll really help me and the algorithm, help with engagement, all those things. I really appreciate it. Also, if someone has a question down there that I haven't had time to get to yet, please, if you know the answer, answer it. Help your fellow community members out. That is in good spirits and good teamwork. And with all that being said, a way that you can help the Jackie Fox team is to click that link in the description to send you to all corners of the Jackie Fox media universe, including other YouTube channels, Spotify, books, and ways to donate to the channel as well. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.